Welcome to Savvy Business, Life Unscripted, with your host, Christina Rivera, where our guests share their wisdom and valuable business tips, empowering our audience to expand their personal potential.
Hi, Ann. Bennett. Welcome to Savvy Broadcasting, Life Unscripted. I'm so grateful to have you here today. We're going to talk about branding. What does it really mean to build a brand for your business? What are some of the not optimal ways that people are doing it without even realizing it, and how they could get better at branding for themselves and their business? So welcome to Savvy.
Thank you so much, Christina. It's just an honor and a privilege to be here with you and talk about my favorite subject.
Branding. So
impact. What are you doing, people?
So what kind of brought you to creating renegadebranding.com and and getting into that understanding or that niche? Because I don't think people understand something. They think marketing, branding, same thing. It's not.
No, very different. So it's kind of like coffee and coffee with cream. So it's like coffee or cafe latte.
Yeah.
Right? Different. Coffee is pretty much your straightforward tactics for marketing, how you get the message out. Cafe latte is more like, what is the impression? What are you trying to communicate before you actually show up? The brand is like the essence of who you are, your values, your point of view, what you're really about in a bigger picture, like what breaks your heart and what pisses you off.
Yeah.
It's really a great way to start to look at that. Yeah. So it's a much deeper kind of more something that you want to be congruent to who you are, what your business is trying to express.
You know, it's interesting, and because over the years, when I first entered the social media arena, probably close to 7-8 years ago, and when I started my business, I found that there were a lot of people living a surfacey kind of existence on the social media platforms with business or otherwise. And it wasn't who I met in person. Like I would meet them in person. I'm like, is this the same person? They don't look the same. They'd have pictures from 20 years ago up there. And it didn't seem congruent with what they were showing online. Now, if you have a value system, is it good to put your personal values mixed with your business, or do you keep the two separate? Is it like, how do you?
A really interesting question, because a lot of people are asking me like, well, that's my personal values. And I'm like, that's where you start. Because a lot of times our personal values and what we care about is really what's being expressed in the brand itself, in the business.
Yeah.
So people like to, in the good old days, right, before dinosaurs roamed the earth, it was like we separated our personal lives and our business life, our personal way we were with our families and what we're doing, and our business life could be two different people. Now, what we're looking for is what you're saying previously is a congruency, because we want to know, like, and trust you. Basically, we want to connect with you and trust you. Yeah. If we can't connect and we can't trust that you're congruent across all your platforms, what you say, how you talk, it becomes like our giant BS meter goes off, right? Yeah. And we're all kind of a little suspicious of each other because, as you know, online you can present a particular way, as you were saying, and then you meet the person and you're like, what? Who are you? Really like, who is this person? Yeah. So when I'm working with people, we're really working on the essence of who they are and how we can take that and do the visuals and the words and how you're going to communicate, whether it's in video or you're going to be on the stage speaking, whatever it is, it wants to all align.
Yeah, I love that you say that, because I think for me in the beginning, I was scared to step out as my person. So I just had a logo for the first 6 months on social media. Because like, I don't want anyone to see my face. No. And I had to realize that in order to get out there and to, connect with possible clients, I had to get out there, get uncomfortable and meet them in person. So it was 6 months out on Twitter. I put up an actual photo of myself and someone said, it's a pleasure to actually meet Savvy Consulting at the time, because they hadn't seen a picture. They saw this logo, which means nothing to people. They don't want to connect with the logo. They want to connect with real people.
Yeah, exactly. And especially now, right? We're just going through this whole reworking of how we do business and how we do our lives. It's more important than ever to create a connection so that people see a face or they understand what you stand for. I know for me, like if I don't show up in my leather jacket it's become that much of a brand. People are like, where's the leather jacket? Right?
Yeah. But it's also a real part of you. It's not like, I got a meeting, I got to put on the leather jacket just for this. It is who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think for me, when I started my business, I was coming straight out of New York. I was working for Vogue magazine. I spent 25 years working for all these magazines and being behind the scenes, right? Like what we were talking about, really being the face of your business. And I was like, okay, I'm the support system. That was kind of how I was. And when I came out to start to networking, I had moved from New York to California. So I was wearing, Armani suits. I was looking at what I call sharp from New York, right? Yeah. And everybody was like, they couldn't remember me. They didn't know, they couldn't connect, actually. So once I started going, you know what? I'm just going to be myself. I'm going to be my quirky self, my funny self, my irreverent self, my rebel self, all these parts of myself. I'm just going to present that. And people were like, they never forget. For one, they never forget how you made them feel, more importantly than what you actually say.
Well, that's the important part, the feeling. And that comes across based on not only how you put yourself out there, but the stories that end up coming about from the images and the postings that you put out there. Now, here's something I want to go to is that some people are uncomfortable. Like one guy said to me, I was in a certain market, so I was presenting only a certain picture, but I don't feel it's congruent with me, but I feel I'll lose a good portion of a market I'm hoping to have if I just niche it down to who I really think I am. And I think to myself, there's always enough people out there. There's not enoughness of if I get out there my real self that I won't find my tribe or people who connect with me. And I don't think that's true. I think there's always going to be a group of people, no matter what your message is, that are going to jive with you and connect with you.
Absolutely.
The authentic you.
Absolutely. And I think, along those same lines, it's like, well, you can, a lot of people don't like to niche down because they feel like this guy, he might lose all these clients. But here's the thing. They're working with him because of who he is, not exactly what he's teaching. Because you can go on Google and learn anything you want. Okay. Yeah. Nobody needs another coach, another mentor, anybody. You can Google it. But here's the thing. That isn't really ultimately how we learn. So if we did, we'd all be, rich, happy, and hot. Okay?
Yeah, right.
Well, we're not, right? So the thing is for people to really step out in their own brand, it does take courage. Yeah. I'm not going to say it doesn't take courage, but what happens is you are attracting people that believe what you believe.
Yeah.
They don't have to be like you, but they definitely believe what you believe, and you don't have to. It really cuts down a lot of conversation or the sense of having to convince people of an idea or something that you're presenting, a service, because they're going to believe what you believe. And so that attracts to you the people that's totally fun to work with, the people that you love, that love you, and they get the great results from working with you and all that. You're not going to hit a lot of resistance because if people don't respond to your brand or who you are and your imagery, they will be repelled, which is so great. There's people that get totally repelled by me and awesome because I don't need to work with them. They can go work with someone else. It's totally cool.
Yeah.
And people see themselves. They're like, oh yeah, I've always been a rebel or I've always been a renegade. Yeah. They don't necessarily wear the leather jacket. Let's say they can look like any other. First of all, when you're a woman and you're in business and any entrepreneur, men or women, as an entrepreneur, you already are a rebel. Otherwise you'd be working in corporate. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And, it's interesting because many years ago I was working at a media company and I always liked to dress not corporate-y. I didn't realize it. I was always in accounting and finance. But one guy said to me, you know what? You're like Billy Idol's sister, if he has one. Because, you dress with punky blonde platinum hair and these like furry jackets, they look like I killed a Muppet and wore the jacket.
Right. It's awesome. You're like Big Bird.
You're right. And they're looking at me like, you so don't look accounting. I'm like, and I never thought about it. I never thought that I looked odd. But it was funny that people in the company would say, we really like you, but you are an odd goose. But it was a part of the likability for me, because they realized, okay, that's just who you are, and you're being you, and you do your job well. But it's that not being scared of being who you are that will make people attracted to you. And then the ones who aren't going to jive. You're not going to work well together. So let's just weed those puppies out so you don't waste each other's time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think now, with our present situation where everybody's online and we're all Zooming and we're doing all these things, right? Videos and all this stuff, you've got to really be a standout image.
Yeah.
A lot of it is what I call, entertainment to a degree.
Yeah.
Right. You must entertain people. You've got to get their attention. Mm-hmm. It's like, are they going to turn on, and look at their texts while you're talking, or are they going to pay attention to what you're doing? So all of it revolves around having a really strong brand.
Now, here's a question. You're a new business owner. This friend I was talking about who was scared of losing a part of the market. You're a new business owner, but you don't even know, what is my brand? What is my voice? How do you begin to go pull that out of yourself?
Yeah, really great question. I'm going to show you, I have some really simple branding cards that I made up. That really help people do this.
All right.
And also, I'm going to be offering like client getting brands so they can go in and work deeper on this. So let's do you, Christina.
All right. Let's do me. Right? All right.
So here's the thing. These cards are basically the essence of who you are. Mm-hmm. And you just respond to the one. So it's not so much in your brain as much as it's in your gut. Okay. You just respond to the one that you are, which I know you do. So no problem. So there's the nurturer. You're warm, spiritual, kind, generous, natural, caring, community, and peaceful.
Okay.
You're the disruptor, irreverent, fun, spontaneity, action, sassy, freedom, image, or excitement. You are an innovator, ideas, engaging, inspiring, bold, original, action, connection, and unorthodox. Or you're a geek, practical, rules, quirky, systems, planning, intense, centered, or structures.
Disruptor.
Got it. Me too. This is mine. Boom. Right. So, sometimes people will say, well, I'm really a nurturer because I'm a healer. I'm in that business, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I kind of like disruptor as well. I've always been that way since I was a kid. So I'm like, okay, great. So are you more like Oprah, who I think is a classic, iconic nurturer? Mm-hmm. Or are you more like Madonna, who is more like, sassy, brassy, controversial? Mm-hmm. And they usually can get really clear really fast.
Yeah, exactly. Just niche it down. Yeah, I love that. That's
so
great.
Once you have this, it's not just it's a fun game, but it's also the basis of, okay, so if I'm a disruptor, then what does my copy look like? How do I talk? How do I communicate to my other people that are going to be attracted to the disruptor personality style? Mm-hmm. If I'm a nurturer, I'm going to talk in a very, very different way. I'm going to use different languaging as well as visually. If I'm a disruptor, I'm going to be doing stuff like you were saying when you had like your blonde spiky hair and your big bird coat and all that. It's like you have a style, right? That's kind of like quirky or a little bit different. Yeah. If you're a nurturer, you're going to be a little bit on the more like on the flowy kind of warm and fuzzy, like Oprah. You might wear big fuzzy sweaters, things like that, right? So it helps to inform all the different aspects of your visual. And when we work together, I actually go deeper into the different fascination factors that you have that make people anchor to you.
Interesting.
Instead of someone else, right?
Yeah.
So those things, it's human psychology in a way.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it completely is.
Motivation.
It totally is. Well, we could go on for hours, I know, and you've already offered so much wisdom for our audience, but how do they get started with you today? If they want to really get deep with their brand and kick it into 2021, how do they do that?
Well, I'm going to be offering everybody kind of my freebie that I made for people. It's really awesome. It's called How to Create a Client Getting Brand. And in the questions and in the things that you're starting to look at, you're going to see like, what is my it factor? What makes me, what is my zone of genius? What really makes me stand out? Then you're going to see like, how do I use my quirks and the things that I believe in that really create a powerful connection to other people? Because like we're saying, you really want to connect with people on a real way, right? In a real way. Yeah. And then you can make offers that ignite their curiosity, their sensibility, their sense of surprise and delight. Yeah. Because as human beings, we need variety. We need steady as well. So we need steadiness and we need variety because we're duality, polarities. But it gives really that foundational work for people to really begin to look at, who am I and what makes me unique? And then, of course, I'm happy to talk to anybody. You can set up a time. They can set up a time from there if they want to speak to me specifically about their brand and the direction they're headed.
Cool. So should they go to the Renegade one?
I'll tell you what it is. Okay. It's a little bit.ly piece. So I made it a landing page for people and I can give it to you and you can put it in the notes.
That is perfect. Yeah.
So it's https bit.ly/client getting brand.
That's perfect. And is there a website they can come visit and just check out?
Yeah, they can go over to Ann Bennett Marketing. It's ANNBENNETT marketing.com. And they can see video, they can see a lot of stuff. There's videos, there's other things that I give away. I teach a lot. I speak all over the country. So I'm always, happy to come and talk to people about these things.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so grateful. This will be airing shortly after the new year hits and get people revved up, get their business pumped, your brand pumped. And I just have to thank you again, Ann, for coming to share your great wisdom today on Savvy Broadcasting.
Thank you, Christine. It was a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Like, subscribe, and share this episode. To listen to more savvy episodes and savvy biz tips, go to www.lifeunscriptedradio.com. To find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest, email Christina at lifeunscriptedradio.com.